All right, greetings everyone, and welcome to week number 6. That is right, week number 6 of your 9407 class, which is your intellectual freedom class. As always, I'm your professor, Dr. J.S.K. Austin. And today our state of the course update is going to be rather brief, as is my I guess soapboxing or whatever. Just largely in part because library neutrality is something that's very simple to me, so there's not really any need for me to talk about it a whole lot because what I have to say about it is super simple. However, library neutrality does become a very big deal to a lot of people in this profession. And so it is good to understand how your coworkers feel about library neutrality, how trends are going in library neutrality and that sort of thing. Because at the end of the day, yes, things regarding attitudes about library neutrality, what we've got going on now is not necessarily going to be the case 5 years from now. People might have different views. They may be more radical. They may be less radical. But they're probably not likely to be the same. And right now we have this very intense activism current, within librarianship, which I don't agree with at all. I see librarianship as a civil service. And so I don't get into trying to be some wannabe activist. I will just say that I come from somewhere, a hometown that was founded by activists. If you want to look up Soul City, North Carolina, and the name Floyd McKissick, who was a civil rights activist. And so when I look at what people did to found my hometown, or to my home county was also the birthplace of the environmental racism movement, because they dumped PCBs on Warren County, North Carolina, because the county was black and poor. So when I look at all these various things and the activism that I actually saw growing up, or the activism that I saw before I grew up, because the PCB thing, that was like 82, so that was slightly before I was born, very slightly, because I was born in 83. But the PCB issue, that was either 81 or 82. There was always an activist current within my hometown. And so I find it kind of silly when librarians refer to themselves as activists, but a whole lot of them do. And we might go into that a little bit more at some other time in the course, but I don't see any reason to really belabor that point right now. So today really will be a short one, because when I tell you my beliefs on library neutrality, it's not going to take long, because I'm very simple-minded when it comes to this. So first of all, let's talk about the state of the course. First of all, we are now we have now completed the First Amendment modules. You all did overall a really good job with the discussions in the First Amendment modules. Very, very happy with the ability of you all to agree or disagree with each other, to have a good tone, positive tone, even when disagreeing, to not be snippy with each other. There has been a whole lot of positive that I can point to in that arena. And so I just hope that we continue it with the class. The next 3 weeks are going to be very big weeks as well, because this week we do have library neutrality, which is, again, a very big deal in the profession. And then also we are, after this week, we're going to have 2 weeks dealing with book bans. One is the regular week that we deal with book bans, and then we've also got a second book ban week that is going to be discussing book bans in the current era, because we are seeing some things that we have not seen in a while when it comes to attempts to book ban. So that's that. I also do want to say, as part of the state of the course update, that you all did a very, very good job also on the exam. So most of the exams were very high. Actually, most of them, almost all of them, were 7s. There were a few 6s, 1 5 and 1 4 maybe. But and if you were on the lower end of the grades there, that's okay. You're still gonna have opportunities to be very successful in this class. Just keep up with the discussions, do your best elsewhere, and you're still gonna be fine. Okay. But I will say you all did a tremendous job with the exams, and that means that the content that I'm using to deliver the information with the exam, or to deliver the First Amendment and exemptions to freedom of speech, it looks like I've got a solid repertoire of readings for you all, in that you all have understood them, and that's why there was success on the exam. And I hope that's the case. I'm going to operate as if that is the case, but if that's not the case, then please let me know. After the next 3 weeks, we are actually going to get into stuff that's actually a little less contentious, but can certainly be interesting. So again, then after this week, we're going to have 2 weeks of book ban information. But then after that, we get into some of the practical stuff that you all are going to want to be aware of. So like starting with week 9, intellectual freedom in juveniles. Then we'll talk about meeting spaces, then privacy and confidentiality, filtering, librarians and censorship. And there is a module for 14 somewhere. There it is. Materials that make you go, that is actually a very important one. And then we'll close with the comedy. But yes, those things are more individualistic things that you will actually probably in situational occurrences, you're going to have to make decisions about filtering if you are, for instance, an administrator of a library. Or you might have to deal with what you will and will not allow children in a public library to access and that sort of thing. So those various units that come after the book ban unit, those are going to be some solid for vocational guidance, basically, so that you are aware that these are some decisions that you're probably going to have to make in the future, especially if you move up to the administrator level, which a lot of you will do. So we'll keep that in mind. And now, let me talk just a little bit about library neutrality. Now, again, our readings this week, they tend to skew a bit toward libraries not being quote unquote neutral. If you look at these, that seems to be a common theme within these readings here. And I do want to, again, reassure you all that that's not instructor bias. That's just the way the field is going. Like, I didn't go back and try to get a whole bunch of things about libraries being neutral, because a lot of that stuff is dated, and what is coming out now is shunning the idea of library neutrality. And so that's where the field is going right now. But if you have different opinions, if you think that libraries actually should be neutral, then by all means, I think that's certainly a valid opinion. And more people had that opinion even 15 years ago than what you see now. So that is what it is. We again have this kind of a activist or wannabe activist, I would say, wannabe activist element within libraries, and the people who go into that wannabe activist sort of framing or approach to their job. Yes, they are going to definitely insist that libraries are not neutral, because if they want to brand themselves as activists, then what they need to do is declare that libraries are not neutral, and therefore activism is needed for successful librarianship. And that is what you're going to see out of a lot of people these days. Now, as far as me, in my opinion, on whether libraries are neutral, again, it's very simple. It'll probably only take me about 30 seconds to get through it. So my opinion is that libraries are not neutral because they are a government entity that exists, and as such, it's not possible for them to be neutral. So again, I'm still doing it's not possible for libraries to be neutral, which you will find that, you'll find that line. You'll find a lot of people saying that line. But some other people, when they say it, they're going in a different direction. When I say it, I'm just saying that there is no government entity that exists and is funded that is completely neutral. They all take some form of side. So if you have the public schools are not necessarily neutral. The public schools exist because there is a belief that low literacy rates are beneficial to a society, and a well-educated society produces a well-educated workforce. The same with like policing and first responders. I don't think the existence of the police is neutral by any means. That definitely is impossible. So the existence of the police, this is a statement that the state will have the right and the authority to even use deadly force against those who pose threats to the safety of other people, as well as the safety of capitalistic endeavors. Let's just keep that real. So yeah, when I look at libraries, the fact that they exist means that they are not neutral. The fact that they exist means that there is some government declaration. The state is declaring that people should have access to information with as few barriers as possible. So that's why I say libraries are not neutral. They definitely have a purpose, and unless the purpose of something, in my opinion, is stated to be our purpose is to be neutral on everything, which I don't know any entity that states that as a purpose. So if libraries do have a purpose statement and their purpose statement does not insist on neutrality, then I think that's automatically making them not neutral. So that's pretty much how I feel in a nutshell. But I'm not somebody who's very wedded to these ideas, if that makes sense. Like for me, it's like, if you want to call libraries neutral, fine. If you don't want to call libraries neutral, fine. I have my beliefs, but I'm not going to argue with about you. I'm not going to argue with you about it. That's just to me, it's kind of a boring argument and kind of a pointless argument. There's some people in our field, they get really, really serious about this. And so when I designed this course, I didn't design the course based on what I felt was important. I designed the course based on what is important in intellectual freedom circles right now. I designed the course based on what most librarians who are vocal on these sorts of things, the things that they tend to be vocal about, those are the things that I included in this course. And one of the things that they tend to be vocal about is library neutrality. So that's it, really. With that said, I don't really have anything else to say, except you all are doing a fine job, and I'll get those, again, I know I've been saying this for a while, but I'll get those, other assignments that haven't been decided up very soon. And I will make sure that the assignment is tailored so that you definitely have enough time to take care of it, because I know we're almost in October. I'll make sure that it's something that you're going to be able to do in the time that remains in this class. So that is it for me. We're keeping it under 12 minutes this week. I am Dr. Jace, and you can always do a lot of your classes at an accelerated pace, but just make sure you let the instructor know if you work too far ahead. All right, that is it for me. You all take care and have a wonderful week. By the way, oh, I'm sorry, one more thing. Yeah, I'm sorry, actually, one more thing. I will be presenting, for those of you who are going to the Missouri Library Association Conference, I will be presenting on Thursday, September the 29th, this coming Thursday, from 2 p.m. to 2:45 p.m. I will be presenting also with Dr. Basaler and also Dr. John Budd, who is retired, but used to be a library science professor here at Mizzou. The three of us are going to be talking about ALA, the Code of Ethics, and the Ninth Principle. So if you want to join us for that, you may. I'm not going to have too much to say about this, but I will have some slides that I will be leading in that presentation. So if you all want to join me for that presentation, you probably aren't going to be very impressed by what we're doing, just because it's not groundbreaking, but it is something that we need to be aware of, the added ninth principle in the ALA Code of Ethics. So if you want to learn more about that, then by all means join us. And Dr. John Budd does actually have some very, very interesting perspectives on that. So I will be at MLA just for that one day, just Thursday, but you're more than welcome to say hi and meet me in that session. All right, that's going to do it for me. Again, I am Dr. Jace, and you all have a wonderful week.